Coming up on CityView, it's a dead tree with a message rooted in the drought. The message Austin neighborhoods recently sent to criminals, and the message you should know before you head to the poll. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Renee Tejas. Those stories and more, but first, our top story. Keep calm and vote on. That's the message of a new voter ID campaign from the city of Austin and Travis County. It's all designed to inform residents about Texas' new voter ID law. Beginning this November, Texas voters will need to show a valid ID in order to cast ballots in person. The campaign aims to reach residents who may be unfamiliar with the new law and educate them on the types of identification that will be accepted. While the City Council has taken an official stance opposing the voter ID law, local officials want to ensure that all Austinites are aware how this law may affect them and what ID they'll need to bring to the polls on November 5th.
We really are just getting the word out. This is the first time in the history of Texas you're going to have a valid photo ID to cast your vote. And we don't want that to be an impediment to folks exercising their right to vote. We got to learn from this. We need to make the law better, or as the City Council has voted, we need to repeal the law. We believe that it is a very, very cumbersome law in that it requires a photo identification for many folks in our disabled community, in our elderly community, in our minority communities who more than likely won't have one of these forms of IDs.
To learn more about what forms of ID will be accepted, visit keepcalmvoteon.com or call 512-238-VOTE. That's 238-VOTE. And speaking of Election Day, Austin residents attended a series of community informational sessions held throughout the city to learn more about the affordable housing proposition on the November 5th election ballot. The $65 million in bonds could pay for rental housing development assistance, home ownership programs, and home repair programs. Eligibility for these programs is based on income. For example, an Austin family of 4 earning $58,550 or less annually could qualify for assistance. Find the ballot language and more information at the website on your screen, and know that Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th, 2013. Well, October 1st marked the first day Austinites were able to enroll in marketplace-based healthcare insurance through the Affordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare. Now, in the coming days and months, you may be hearing a lot about the Marketplace Exchange, but simply put, it's a lot like a travel website where you're presented with different trip options and costs. However, in this instance, underinsured and uninsured Texans will be able to view a range of private insurance companies, coverage, and cost choices, then select the option that is just right. To mark the occasion, local health care professionals, nonprofits, and government representatives gathered at the United Way to show a united front in the community's approach to making sure those without insurance know there are multiple locations where you can get help in enrolling.
And the opportunity for our residents, then, many who have never been able to get health and care insurance, can now have affordable care that they can access. And with a very strong benefit plan that includes preventive services and eliminates pre-existing conditions. And now these people can get affordable health care.
Now, if you don't have insurance, you should know that under the Affordable Care Act, it does require coverage and potentially issues a penalty to individuals who do not have insurance by the time the enrollment period ends on March 31st, 2014. But it also means that an estimated 200,000 uninsured men, women, and children in Travis County will have access to affordable private insurance. And Assuring a Strong Community National Night Out is an event that lets criminals know that neighborhoods are organized and fighting back against crime. The events, held one night throughout the country, promote involvement in crime prevention activities, police, community, and neighborhood partnerships. Here in Austin, the 2013 National Night Out saw about 400 block parties and thousands of Austin residents participating by attending a block party or simply by turning on their porch light. The kickoff took place behind Barton Creek Mall, and the public was invited to meet with law enforcement agencies and enjoy live music and hot dogs. The Austin Police Department and Travis County Sheriff's Office participated by bringing out specialized units and displaying their safety vehicles.
Every kid is curious about what firefighters and police officers do, and they want to know more about that. And when you come out here, you get to talk to the police officers one-on-one, and I think this is really helpful. I think the kids get to meet the police officers and the firefighters in this laid-back kind of environment, and they are really looking up to them as role models and getting to see how much they help the community and what a service they do for us.
One of the best attractions was the new helicopter. Children seemed amazed when it lifted, sirens blaring. It's now time for a council update.
Council approved a ban on inflatable flotation devices on the Colorado River between the Longhorn Dam and the Highway 183 Montopolis Bridge. Parks and Recreation Department officials are concerned about safety due to the river's unpredictable volume and fluctuating water levels. They're also concerned about the environmental impact of unregulated recreation activity on the river, on Roy G. Guerrero Colorado River Park, and on the Colorado River Wildlife Sanctuary. Council has asked the city manager to examine what authority the city has to legislate safeguards for animals and aquatic life at a public aquarium. They want to know what steps governmental agencies and other entities have taken to enhance the health and safety of these animals and to accredit aquariums. The move comes amidst reports of a possible first public aquarium in Austin, which council says has raised concerns about ensuring that safeguards are in place to protect the health and safety of animals and aquatic life that may be maintained at local aquariums. And council asked the city manager and Parks and Recreation Department to implement a policy allowing ornamentation within the boundaries of a burial plot. The ornamentation could be removed for health and/or safety reasons. The policy will remain in effect pending the outcome of a stakeholder process and final policy direction from the City Council. Council also wants staff and stakeholders to evaluate whether current cemetery policies related to grave ornamentation are appropriately sensitive to personal and cultural expressions of grieving while preserving necessary safety for cemetery workers and respect for the values of all families. City staff had begun to tag, document, and post notices of the city's intent to enforce rules and regulations that prohibited particular grave ornamentation at municipal cemeteries. It's in response to complaints from the public about benches, statuary, trellises, perimeter pavers, vegetation, and other memorials not permitted as per current cemetery rules. In all, Council considered 81 items at its October 17th meeting. Its next regularly scheduled meeting will be October 24th. For CityView, I'm Larry Schooler.
The city's Watershed Protection Department recently celebrated the completion of two difficult and complex projects, the Block 51 tunnel realignment and the Barton Springs bypass culvert. Department Director Victoria Lee welcomed staff and community partners and reflected on the lessons learned from both projects as well as the teamwork required for the project's successful completion. With the completion of the Block 51 tunnel realignment project in September 2012, the city was able to move a storm drain tunnel out from under private property, including Block 51. A public-private partnership with IBC Bank, the developer of the site, allowed the city to undertake the tunnel realignment several years before previously was planned. Now, the Barton Springs bypass tunnel project repaired holes in the tunnel that carries water from Barton Creek around the spring-fed pool, Barton Springs Pool, and helps protect water quality. Well, with the recent economic boom in downtown Austin, Austin Energy Network crews are busy building vaults to power new apartments, condos, and other large buildings. Last week, crews began the installation of a new vault to power the 311 Bowie apartment building being built at 5th and Bowie. Austin Energy is installing 4 large transformers at the base of the 36-story tower, 3 of which weigh 18,000 pounds.
We have our own cranes and our guys that come in and rig them and set them, and then we use rollers. In this case today we use what we call tanks or rollers and roll them in. We also have air pallets for some of the bigger ones that will actually put air in and hover them in like a hovercraft. So we have several ways of getting them in here.
Vaults are built downtown because there is limited space, and Austin Energy is able to keep all electrical wires underground. Vaults also provide a redundant feed, meaning customers will not lose power if one circuit goes out. Austin Energy is currently working on a similar vault project for the new parking garage at the Hyatt Regency Austin on Barton Springs Road. It takes approximately 4 to 6 weeks to build a vault. And taking longer than 4 to 6 weeks to build, but well worth the wait, the Asian American Resource Center recently celebrated its grand opening. It's the city's newest cultural facility housed within the Parks and Recreation Department. The event was a huge success with a big turnout and was attended by Austin's elected officials, city staff, and representatives from a number of community organizations. The center was welcomed in grand celebration with a ceremony and ribbon cutting, followed by a street festival on the Great Lawn and a variety of Pan-Asian performances on the indoor stage. The event also included a presentation on the many history exhibits and cultural displays found at the center. The mission of the Asian American Resource Center is to provide public resources, collaborative and educational programming, and a cultural destination for Austin's Asian and Asian American community, as well as the general public.
The ARC facility has 3 missions in terms of programming. The first is economic development, the second is social services, and the third is culture and arts.
Doors to the facility opened on Tuesday, October 1st, and you're invited to visit during regular business hours. Those are Tuesday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Wednesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., open late those days, and Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information, visit the website on your screen or call 512-974-1700. That's 974-1700. Now, if you've spent any time around Lady Bird Lake in recent days, you may have noticed a dead 35-foot tall cedar elm tree. Yep, it's a real dead tree painted ghostly white, hovering over the surface of Lady Bird Lake, its roots just shy of the water. The temporary art installation called Thirst will be on view publicly for the next few months as part of a presentation by the organization called Women in Their Work. Now, we should note that no city money was used for this project. It memorializes the loss of an estimated 300 million trees that died in the drought of 2011 and acknowledges the devastating impact that changes in weather patterns have had on Austin, while calling for action on conservation. The installation is between the Pfluger pedestrian and Lamar bridges and includes 14,000 Tibetan-style prayer flags strung from trees along the hike and bike trail that have been silk-screened with the image of the once thirsty tree. That's all for this edition of CityView. I'm your host, Renee Tejas. Our next episode premieres Friday, October 25th. Thanks for watching.